Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Yes, I'm on. Hi, my name is Dennis Joyner, and I'm the author of Let the Playing Field Level the Playing Field. I studied mathematics and computer science at Southern Illinois University, and I have a background in information technology, doing research and development and innovative information technology. I've worked with several government agencies and defense contractors. So, a writer writes because he has something urgent and personal that he must say. And America has been longing for a perfect union, which is referred to as a level playing field, which is a metaphor for the American society, where you have no external influence that would give an advantage to one individual or group, and that everyone plays by the same rules. So, a level playing field could come about in a evolutionary way in one or two ways. Let's call one a type 1, type 2 evolution, where you have human initiatives or some political reforms that would cause the playing field to be leveled. Or type 1 evolution, where it would be providential, where you would have it would be transcendental, where no human vision or corruption would prevent the playing field from becoming leveled. And my book, Let the Playing Field Level the Playing Field, is related to the type 1 evolution, where providence would cause the playing field to be leveled. So, what are the obstacles now that we have that's preventing the playing field from being leveled? There are two. One is ignorance, and the other one is fear. Both are used by the ruling class to prevent the playing field to be level. And as a matter of fact, race, that's the reason for race and racism that we have. It's the ruling class that created the social concept of race for their benefit of controlling and manipulating the masses, the common people. And of course, in this country, the ruling class at the time were white Europeans. So they created a race in order to, again, manipulate and control the common white Europeans that came to America during the colonial era. So that you always need to have a mud seal, a lower class that the ruling class takes advantage of and exploits. So the African slaves, when they came to America, were used as the mud seal for the common white Europeans. And that allowed them to feel superior and not look at the ruling class as being their oppressors. So what you have is ignorance is about race and ignorance about what actually goes on as far as the governance of our country. We're supposed to have a representative government, but what happens, of course, as I shouldn't have to tell you, is that our representatives, they go to Washington, and instead of representing their constituents, they get involved in the social eliteness of Washington, and really become part of this. Well, they become part of the ruling class as their surrogates to do they work in their self-interest of the ruling class instead of their constituents. And the founders never could have envisioned or imagined representatives going to Washington and staying becoming professional politicians and staying for 20, 30, 40 years. During the colonial times, of course, they needed to go home and work their farms and provide for their families. So it was a community thing where individuals took turns to go and represent that community or the constituents in that community. And but that's, of course, has changed and evolved over time to become, something more lucrative. And so people go now to enrich themselves instead of representing their constituents. So that's an obstacle, and that's a problem. So what's the fear? Well, that's where race comes in. So the American people are divided. So you have this concept of divide and conquer. So American people can be divided in a number of ways. Of course, they're divided by race, divided by religion, divided by economic station. And these factions that are part of this division are pitted against each other, and see themselves having a conflict with each other, and not really looking at the root cause of the problems that we're having in this in our society. So to overcome that, you need knowledge, and knowledge, of course, is power, and power is the ability to cause change or prevent it. Right now, the power is being used to prevent change. So that's the primary purpose of my book, is to provide knowledge and understanding to the reader so that they would have the power to cause or produce change in our society by understanding the root cause of the problems that we're having in our society today. Okay, the next thing is as I've mentioned, is the way that would come about is in spite of the ruling class basically having most of the power, if not all of it, is through the class 1 evolution, where you have in my book, I refer to this as epiphenomena, and that's a second order phenomena that people can't anticipate or imagine. So throughout human history, you've had these occurrences, and one of the more significant ones for American society was World War II. World War II caused the ruling elite in America to realize and understand that they had to address the racial discrimination of blacks in America, because you couldn't say that you were fighting for freedom around the world when you were discriminating against a segment of your people at home. So that was the start of the civil rights movement, because that had to change. But with and without the occurrence of World War II, it never would have changed. And the next significant epiphenomenon was television. Soon after World War II. So it helped facilitate the civil rights movement by showing the American people the unfair treatment of blacks in the South. And we've all seen the videos of the dogs being used on the protesters. We've seen the attitudes that whites had toward black children trying to integrate the schools in the South. And all this was shown on television, and which, of course, allowed President Johnson to pass the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Acts in the 60s. And so, from then we had a gradual change in society as far as the treatment of blacks, as far as segregation and discrimination. But of course, we've in the last few decades, we're going backwards. So, and but the thing is that even though you have these forces that are preventing America from becoming this perfect union and having a level playing field, you still have this phenomenon, epiphenomenon actually, that will cause it to come about. Now, it will eventually happen. And it could be accelerated by human initiative and political reform. So, which would be um, desirable, but eventually it would happen. And another example of it, whether people are uh, whether you like or dislike Donald Trump. Donald Trump became president of America. No one could have imagined that would happen. And so, because he became president of this country, you've had all of this epiphenomenon going on. Second order phenomena. And what you've learned is what has been being planned and plotted against the American people. What's been going on in our schools and has been going on in our government. So that's knowledge that people should be made aware of. But of course, you also should be made aware of your media. So you have three things now that you should be aware of. You have a criminal government, you have a corrupt media, and you have an apathetic populace. Three ingredients for what's going on today. The country is being destroyed. Our society is being destroyed. So, I'll just read my last passage in my book. And this is how I see things turning out. The dynamics transformation of technical social phenomena within the playing field is committed to the consummate improvement of the human condition in accordance with nature's providential intent. So it's the intent of nature that we have the playing field. And whether we have it tomorrow, in 10 years, or 20 years, or at the end of this century, we'll have it. Oh, I have a question from Melinda. Yes. A neuritis. She's asking about a neuritis. It's a psychological disorder. It's it's related to it's three psychological disorders: alienation, narcissism, and let's see. Can't think of the third one right off. Alienation. But let's see. How would you define the playing field as it relates to American? Okay, that was enough. I'm still on emerititis. Nation. It stumped me there. Anyway, it's a social disorder where and it's related to race and racism in America, and both blacks and whites suffer from it. And both are narcissistic, both are you alienate yourself and become more unsociable. Let's see, I have another one here. Do you subscribe to leftist lens of analysis? Mr. Joyner. I don't know what a leftist lens of analysis would actually be, but no, I don't obviously do not see things through a leftist lens. Actually, the most Americans see things through a racial lens, and so I read a bit about the playing field, and what little I read, I've been quite informed. Oh, it's good to hear from Carla. Do you have any idea how better unite different social groups? Okay, Lily is asking about uniting different social groups. Of course, you have to break down the barriers. First of all, you shouldn't have different social groups. We should all be Americans first. And we should not have those boundaries that you are, social barriers that you would have to break down. What do you think about the current situation in America? The current situation in America. The current situation, of course, is very, very bad. It's very bad. Um, we the, we haven't done anything progressive since the 60s. And for the most part, the progression that we had from colonial time, um, it we were progressive up until the 60s. And I think it died with Kennedy, President Kennedy. Time is up. Please wrap up. Okay. Um, Again, well, wrap up. I will suggest to get a better understanding of the playing field, you should buy or at least look at the book. Let the playing field level the playing field. Thank you.